Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. I am Zam. I'm here with Cheeto and Ensign Donkey, and we're talking Discovery Season 5, Episode 3, Jinaal. I apologize for Mike not being here today. He has some personal issues to deal with, so I'll be hosting the show. Cheeto, how did you find this episode overall?
It was a good filler episode. I did I mean it kind of felt status quo um for Discovery. Burnham and Book go to the planet and do the
Burnham
thing.
book.
Yeah, Burnham and Book go do the thing while everybody else is just kind of doing the subplots. You know what I mean? So it is kind of more of the Discoveryisms, but at the same time, I didn't think it was terrible. I mean, I enjoyed being back on Trill, and seeing the what the Triller doing, and I know we had that in season 3, but it was nice to revisit this season and just see what was going on, and them bringing back the I don't remember the name of the ritual of bringing the past host out into another body. That was a fun episode of DS9 they did when Odo was Curzon Dax. And so it's just kind of a callback to all that. And I really enjoyed Colbert in this episode, whether he was possessed or not. It just seems Colbert's just the MVP in this show in a lot of regards, in my opinion. So, and I love the fact when he walked away. That the highlight of the episode is when he walking away and he's like, "This guy works out," and I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah,
So anyway, I
that
thought it
was
was
a
a good.
nice touch.
I thought it was good filler. I feel like it did progress the story, but that's about all it did. Besides some nice little
English.
filler moments.
I almost called you English Donkey because it looks like that, but Ensign Donkey. How did you find this episode today?
Oh, that's insulting, Zam. I'm leaving. I'm logging off now.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
I have a couple things noted here because Jason will get excited about them. Ferengi, there was a Dominion reference,
There was.
and there was a Voyager reference.
That's well, I think
Okay.
And they mentioned Picard again. I'm always happy when they mention Picard.
I think the Voyager they mentioned though is the Voyager J, the one from
Yeah. We don't care about that one.
Well, they mentioned things like the brain, which I think are
Um,
becoming more prominent, and obviously
Mhm.
the Dominion War and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay. Anything more to add, Ensign, before we do this?
yeah,
Play by play.
I think it was. I agree. It was a good filler episode. A lot of time with Colburn. A lot of really cool to see him just switch faces and I love seeing that in a show where a character that you know and love has to take on a different personality, and they
Quite a
nail
common
it.
thing with Star Trek, by the way. We've
Col-
been watching this all the way back to the original series. Stuff like that has
Mhm.
happened, So yeah. Okay. So
Before
let's
wait, Dan, before we
well,
move
yeah,
on, let's do the comments really quick and then
okay.
so Daniel Vance, of course, is here and he says someone touched the swamp kelp, didn't they? I told you to put more security around it. And he also says, I love the rapid fire introduction of bridge officers. I'll never remember the names of except Linus. Yes. I mean, and
hmm
where was
Where's
Kayla
Reese?
and Owasako?
And
Owasakon?
Awoshikun.
Is
Wushakun.
it
There we go.
Oshikun. Oh well.
Oh,
is
whoa.
it
Yeah, it
is
was
it
cool to see.
Mariner?
I watched you guys from last week and complained about not hearing or not having much of time with the bridge crew, and this was kind of their rapid fire way to fix that, just for you guys.
I don't even think they were fixing that. I don't know. I mean, this is just still more of the same. Personally, like the in and out. Like you had the bridge crew in I think episode 1, and then
Oh,
they got put in some sort of status field like ray shields in Star Wars, where they couldn't move and stuff like that. And it's just Michael Burnham having to do all this shit on their own again. So
yeah, more of let's put the most important person of the ship in danger. Will Riker would have never allowed Burnham to go beam down on that planet.
well, I just like like I said, it'd be just nice to see the wealth spread around a few more of the characters. But fair enough, it is what it is. We should be accepting it by now. We're 5 seasons into the Discovery. So anyway, so the MacGuffin from last week gave us a clue to head to Trill. It also has dots on it like that found on a Trill, which belonged to a Trill named Jinaal who died 800 years ago. His symbiote is still alive though, and it's in another host. And Disco planned to visit that host. So we cut to Rayna, who is that captain from the previous ship, who's now been demoted to first officer to commander, and he's going to be Burnham's number one. And she also wants him to meet and greet with the crew, and I hope that's going to be a lot of fun, as we can tell. Jet Reno is, and by the way, you two, anytime you want to intervene and mention anything, please do. Yeah, Jet Reno is back, which is always good to see. Tig Notaro as Jet Reno, so that's really cool. And she gives Dammit some dad advice about Adira, who'll be meeting Gray for the first time in 6 months.
Space Mom and Space Dad.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. So Disco approaches Trill, and Disco cannot get the info they want unless they answer a riddle. And Burnham answers it straight away, no problem. It was I think it was a Betazoid or Betazed or Beta.
I did appreciate this only because it seemed very like regimen and almost didn't need to be there, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it seemed like a step in the process that what was coming out later as the scientists, this council of scientists that was hiding this away, they would need some kind of proof that they found the clue and they just weren't stumbling from system to system, you know, looking for, you know, the clues. So it seemed a bit procedural, but it kind of made sense in my opinion. Like I thought about it, and I'm like, why are we doing this? I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense because they would need to know that they actually found the clues on the previous planet.
Trill is put back in the Federation at this point, right? Were they one of the ones that left?
Yeah, they were the first ones to go back.
Yeah, I think they were one of the first.
But even then, a random starship shows up in orbit, and no, you can't just immediately beam down.
Yeah, but that particular person they spoke to, he's got like a history with Michael. So
yeah, he was in season 3.
Yeah.
There is a trust there, you know, obviously with Adira as well and Gray being down there. So there is some links. But anyway.
Before you continue, just Daniel Vance said the USS Lockyer was named after J.P. Lockyer. Yeah, there we go. Lockyer, a cinematographer for Disco who passed in 2022. It looked like a huge mobile emitter. It did. I did notice that, and I was.
Oh, that's that gigantic ship at the beginning.
Yeah, and I noticed that they left the name of that ship very prominent. So I was like, that's got to be something. I just forgot to look it up. But anyway, go ahead, Sam.
Good spot, fellas. Okay, so Disco has an away team of Burnham, Book, Adira, and Kelber. And as they beam down, the Trill, who has the symbiote, who once was in Jinaal, tells them that that Jinaal's spirit needs to be entered into another host for a limited period of time in order to help them.
That part confused me. So the symbiote was in that old woman and previously had been with a Trill who was on the research council that the Romulan was also part of. The dead Romulan from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, wait, was the Romulan the host, or
I mean,
they breezed through that very quickly, and I was.
I think Tall is the first. Adira, is that her name? Right.
That's why it confused me. Because wait, I thought Adira was the first non-Trill host.
Yeah, she was the first non-Trill host. Like so, because when they showed up at Trill in season 3, they were so confused. Like, how in the world is this person have a hope? But you know, it just
where are your tattoos?
Yeah, right.
But this was different. This was like a particular person from within the symbiote going into somebody temporarily and all of that. But
they did do this in an episode of Deep Space Nine. Like it was a great episode because it was all of Jadzia Dax's previous hosts, like all of them. I think there was like 7 of them. So like all of the actors were acting like all these other people, and Cisco got to play the criminal host. So it's a good episode. You guys should. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like
I need to watch all of DS9. So. You're about to say you need to go watch that episode. I need to watch all of it.
Yes, you do need to watch all of DS9. But no, it was a great, and Odo gets to play Curzon. It's so great. It was a great episode. I'm flashing my Dax today, by the way.
Lovely. Well, Saru and Trina discussed their wedding plans, and we also get to meet Trina's personal assistant. Now you can already tell that this guy's going to be a bit of an a-hole very early on.
Yeah.
And then again, he's a
Bit of a
Vulcan, so
Kyle.
it kind of comes with the territory a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
Tilly tries to get Raynor to do what Burnham wanted him to do, which is to meet the crew. Raynor is busy focused on catching Mole and Lark, but kind of compromises with Tilly and tells Tilly, instead of me going around and meeting the crew, bring the crew to me one by one, and I'll ask them for a 20-word introduction. Speak to them for a couple of minutes. You know what I mean?
I feel like they're swinging really hard the pendulum the opposite way with him, like being like this dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like they're trying too
Yeah.
hard to make him unlikable, and then we're supposed to like him by the end of the season. And it's like either that or they're trying to pull another Shaw. Like they're trying to be like, oh, here's a
Yeah, I
really
was thinking
unlikable
that
character.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
just
could see
don't.
them going that route.
I just don't. I like the character in the last episode. We was kind of matter of fact, but now that he's just being a dickhead to the crew,
I'm
like-
calling him Commander Grumpy Pants.
yeah, like I just don't know.
And
if it's
he's
gonna
too
work
much,
again.
and I just love that Tilly put him in his place in the end.
all right, okay. Well, Colbert decides to choose to be the host for the Jinaal, and we finally get to see, probably not since Colbert came back after death, some real acting chops from Wilson Cruz as he plays Jinaal. You know, and we find out that Jinaal is an outgoing man who's happy just to have a few more years of life, and he decides to take Book and Mike on a walk to the MacGuffin.
That's what the name of that's what the name of the episode should have been. A walk to the MacGuffin.
Yeah. So back at Starfleet, Saru is in his ambassador role, and he tries to help planets in need during in their need. And during recess, Tarine's PA says that his relationship with Tarine might upset the Vulcan purists back on Navarre, which I found very weird because how the hell can Vulcan purists be on Navarre when they are already mixing themselves with bloody Romulans?
I mean, they're basically Vulcan Nazis. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they're
Yeah,
Vulcan Nazis.
Vulcans who hated Spock and did not want to be reunified. I felt like um, Saru and his fiance there are becoming a sideshow. He's not on the ship anymore, so they're like keeping us in the loop. And it was interesting in the meeting, and it all goes well in that meeting. But it felt like the side story that
we're focusing on him even though he's not on the ship when theoretically we don't need to focus on him at all.
Mhm.
I mean, he goes,
I mean, I'm okay with it only
but
because
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, I want some closure there, but it also felt like they're just making this the silly side story.
I think with the
romance
Vulcan
and-
purists, I think that's going to come back. I think that's going to come.
Yeah,
around.
that's what I'm saying. I hope they don't just make this into a
Well, there was more to it.
meaningless side story.
Well, regarding their conversation, Saru had with the personal assistant, with both Saru and Turin being ambassadors, them agreeing on issues
Turin's a
might be.
president. She's not. I mean,
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, all right.
well, no,
I'm
but
just
would
saying
she technically be
She outranks him.
an ambassador?
I'm just using the term very loosely, yeah, but yeah, they're
Okay.
both on this position of having to vote and all that sort of stuff. So, but the point is that with them agreeing on issues, even if and being a couple, it might be seen as some sort of compromise in their relation. In what happens in planetary affairs because they are a couple, and then
Yeah.
they're voting on things. Anyway, back on Trill, Jinaal takes Book and Mike on a walk through the canyon, and they hear the noise of a troll creature that is close to their vicinity. Jinaal says that the MacGuffin they need was hidden in these canyons because not even the Federation could be trusted with the Dominion War raging.
There's
So
our reference right there, baby.
There's your reference. I thought of you.
I know,
we
right?
Get, we didn't. We didn't get him
Jason probably
Mm.
loves this. Mhm.
Well, we then get a montage of Raynor meeting the crew, and Tilly's not happy with his method, but he is a superior officer. So at this moment in time, Tilly's biting her lip. Gray and Adira talk about their. Sorry,
I actually do. I do like this fact that they're coming up against an officer who's like. They're coming up against an officer who's like, I didn't give you permission to speak freely, because I said it in season 4 and I think in season 3, some of the Star Trek shows are getting a little too huggy. You know what I mean? Like everybody's hugging. And I don't have a problem with
Everyone's
hugging.
quipping and stuff like that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it seems a little bit informal for something. And as I said, if you're friends with somebody, that's fine. You can jaw jack with them. But like, look at Next Generation. Look at Deep Space Nine. Most times, like, they were very professional. They didn't go around hugging people. Like now, if like somebody like a personal relationship of them came in, then they hugged them. Like, oh, when the Klingon came in and talked to Jadzia, and she just, he just gave her a big hug. But it's like, you don't see Cisco going around hugging Worf, or Worf hugging Nog, or
look, when they're working, they're professional. When they're not working and they're playing cards with each other or having a drink at 10 forward, they're having a laugh. I get it. There's a moment when you're working, you've got to put on your professional boots, and you can relax when you're not working. And sometimes you think to yourself, the line's kind of a bit blurred because these guys are all chatting back and making little quips whilst they're working. And I get what you mean.
They're on duty and they're all being huggy too. As I said, I'm like, I don't mind it in their personal, but it's like, I've said it like before. It's like, look, Discovery, and I've seen it not as much, but I have seen it on Strange New Worlds a little bit, where everybody's kind of huggy, and it's like, guys, like, be professional. You know what I mean? Like, if you're outside of work, whatever, you're having a drink at the bar, you see somebody, you want to hug them, whatever. But like, you get people walking off of a shuttle that's, and they're in an official format, and you're sitting there hugging people, and stuff like that. It's just, it just doesn't.
It's the 32nd century. Peace and free love, man.
No way. No way. Next thing you know, Star Trek's going to go woke. I mean, come on.
And Bill Shatner will lose his toupee.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this isn't the military, but you still have like military ranks, which kind of shows you there is a chain of command.
It is the military, though. In a sense. So there should be that formality.
I mean, in the sense that they have these sort of ranks which resembles the military, but they're more humanitarian, which is, I don't know. That might resemble some militaries, but not all. But regardless,
before we go on, hold on. Daniel Van says Rayner reminds me of Churchill, direct to the point, and doesn't take 30 minutes to say what he can say in 15. And of course, there's a finger freak here who is.
That's why I'm here.
I came for gay Klingon sex, and all I got was you prudes moaning about hugging.
Ginger, when are we doing our Doctor Who podcast?
Oh yeah, Ginger, your Whovians are calling for you. They want that. They want those Whovians.
Anyway, Gray and Adira talk about their relationship, and being apart for so long and having their duties means that their relationship is kind of doomed. So they come to terms with having to break up. It's mutual friendly and it's inevitable. And I'm happy that's the case, because
the poor star-crossed lovers.
It was just lame anyway.
I saw somebody.
How are you going to maintain it if you're not together? But it's also the 32nd century, so borrow shuttlecraft, take time off.
Holograms? I mean, turn off the safety protocols.
Make an extra synth. Like, there it is.
Right. I saw somebody online saying, "Oh, thank God they're getting rid of all of this woke crap on Star Trek." It's like, different types of sexualities break up. Like, it's not like it's exclusive to straight people. Like, it's not like this. Like, they're getting rid. Yeah, they're getting rid of these bad relationships that don't align with my views because they had them break up. No, this happens. Like, people break up of all sexualities, of all genders, of all identities. People break up. So I just remind them that like, don't be so ignorant, please. Just
remind them that Stamets and Culber are still a thing anyway. But regardless,
they almost broke up when Colburn came back to life as a mushroom person.
They did. Yeah. Anyway, Mike is impatient with Jinaal and just wants the MacGuffin, but Jinaal cryptically won't let them beam there to the location. It's almost like he's testing them to a degree. And as they get closer, it gets dark, and they approach the location, and then these troll creatures that look like giant cloaked moths starts attacking them. Book
with phaser firing barbs.
Yep. Well, Book
which was pretty cool, but I don't know.
I would like to have seen them uncloaked just to see what a good look at them, but Fair
I
enough.
thought
Yes.
that whole sequence was an excellent use because the personal transporter thing, I think that's been a little overdone. I don't know if that's one of your discoveryisms, but the fact that I'm going to beam. Saru did it. I beam from this level of the meeting to the next level up. Like it's a
Well,
bit
I want to know. I want to know
overused.
how they established that. Like, but
wait, I had to establish where
The
they're beaming
badge is
to.
a
yeah, like
personal
no, but no.
transporter.
How do
Yeah,
they set where they're going? They don't say
Yeah.
like level above or
mind control.
bridge
I
or
don't know.
engineering. Like, what is it? Is it
It's the
reading their mind?
microchips
Yeah.
that we all got from the
No,
shot.
no,
You
but
know.
no, when Book was acting as a diversion whilst Mike was trying to get the MacGuffin, like, how did he
Uh-huh.
know where he was beaming around that canyon? Like he just all he did was
It
just tap.
had to be by thought.
It has
You're
to be by
looking
thought.
somewhere, and that's where you end up.
I mean,
Which
it could be
doesn't
like
completely make sense, but
Nightcrawler.
neither does transporting to begin with.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
mean, it could be like Nightcrawler. You have to be able to see where you're going in order for
fair enough.
the chip in your brain or the Wi-Fi in the badge that's hooked
But
up to
then
your
what?
brain.
How do you beam to a place that you don't see where you're going?
Oh, that's the risk you take. You could transport inside a wall.
Because you might want to just go back to the ship. You don't know where the hell that is. You just want to go back to the ship.
You are correct. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it makes
That's the
sense.
part that requires some thought. And maybe you've got pre-programmed destinations, or
Ping it.
Like I've got
You're-
like 10. I've got 10 pre-programmed. So I got 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just to the toilet.
I mean, they don't even have like
No,
elevators
you
anymore.
beam yourself to the toilet and then beam yourself out, but your turds stay suspended and drop.
Like I said, this is one of the things I did appreciate about this particular time period in Star Trek, because you can see the advancements in future tech um, with this particular show. There's no need for replicators. You can replicate anything you want wherever you want. You don't need a holodeck. Your own room is a holodeck. If you don't need elevators or
Do,
lifts, you just
do you
beam.
remember when I think season 3, when they finally retrofitted Discovery and they just got those badges and Linus shows up in the turbo lift? Like,
Yeah, right.
sorry, I'm still figuring this thing out.
Well, Linus,
And then
I
Linus
need
tricorders are
more
in
transported
of
a
those
bunch of
badges
Linus.
as well.
places.
Sorry.
Linus
need more of
transported a
Linus.
bunch of places.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just kept showing up randomly.
And also the tricorders are in their badges as well, which is pretty cool. Anyway, look, let's get back to the thing. So, Book acts as a diversion so Mike can get the MacGuffin, but she's unable to. And then the second creature comes along and eventually um, making the MacGuffin unobtainable. Stammet finally meets Rayna, and Stammet certainly tells Rayna about the outcome from the adventures that they're going on and what would happen if they manage to get the information they require. And I was getting Genesis vibes a little bit as well from what Stamets was saying. But Rayna kind of shuts him down and basically tells him the danger of all of these things too. And to a degree, because Stamets can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. And I think Stamets might have met his match in Rayna. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, when Rayna shuts him down, he basically tells him to get lost. Now Tilly's full on frustrated, and she ends up telling Rayna how she feels about him. So Saru tells Turin to stall their wedding. Turin knows that her PA has talked to Saru and tells him there's nothing to worry about, and she doesn't need a caretaker.
I actually like this scene a lot. It was good because it was like it felt organic, the way that the conversation unfolded and the way that the argument, the argument, I guess, with it would kind of be an argument with the Vulcan.
The confliction, the
Yeah, I
conflict, I
mean, not an
guess, and
argument, but yeah, like more
the
like
dispute and all of that.
yeah.
And I think Saru and the look on his face thought, "Oh God, I've blown this," But yeah,
I think
so
everything with
yeah.
Saru this episode was he didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Mm-hmm.
Did he? I don't think he had relationships prior to jumping to the future, did he?
Prior to the future, no. I think he did say something about having a love before,
On
though.
Kaminar?
Well, he's gone through a serious arc as well, but you have to remember that Saru was part of this species that was um not treated too well, and the fact that they were fearful and all of these sort of things, and he had to overcome his fear, and they had to kill themselves as well because they're worried that they were going to die anyway. And he overcame that, and then realized he didn't need to kill himself, and overcame his fear, and now he's like he's a whole different person now, which is quite fascinating by him. But anyway, back on Trill, Book has an injury and things look bleak. With the creature's eggs nearby, Mike decides to come back for the MacGuffin later. Hiding in the rocks, our duo can't beam, so she gets Book to use his Doctor Dolittle powers to apologize to
Right.
the animal.
It was
And
the oh yeah, he has powers moment.
yeah, and they put their guns down and stuff like that. Kind of reminds me of the scene from Jurassic Park 3 when they confront when they meet the raptors and all of that. But
Oh, and they have the raptor eggs and they have to give them back.
when they give him back and he blows through the bloody raptor vocal cords and stuff like that. Anyway, they catch up to Jinaal, who was basically testing Mike and Book all along. Who would have guessed? But
I honestly thought originally I thought that he led them to that nesting ground to die, and he was going to steal Colbert's body. Like that was I thought his original intent.
You
I
know,
didn't think that.
the
I,
way he
I,
walks away after he gives them the piece of the puzzle and see you guys later, I thought that was his way of like, I'm keeping the body.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I genuinely didn't think that because I don't think this is an uncommon trait for trills. And if that was the case, then it'd be more of an issue for them to have to deal with, and they might have to have contingencies and all of these sort of things. But
they
so
call the
I wasn't.
Ghostbusters.
Oh no, more of an exorcist
Yeah,
because he is, because he's inhabiting a body. But
I ain't afraid of no Trill. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
who are you gonna call?
anyway,
Oh, anyway,
Janelle had the MacGuffin all along, and it was a lot closer than they realized. So Saru thinks he's kind of blown it with Turin, but she reassures him that dispute, conflict is what happens in relationships, and it's so true. You know what I mean?
And
You
that's what
know,
he's not used
you
to.
know, yeah. So Saru breathes a sigh of relief, and now he can't wait to get hitched. Back to the troll caves, and Colbert returns to his body, and everybody leaves except for Dira, who stays behind for a little bit longer.
Mm.
And then Rainer and Till are in. I'm just going to call it 10 forward. I don't know what else to call that bar, but
Didn't
they're
they
in
mention the name of the bar in Discovery?
the red, I think, or something
Red
like that.
something?
It was like the red or something.
10 backwards. Yeah,
10.
but
Whatever you
regardless,
call it, whatever you want. I mean, if you call it 10 forward, we'll know what you're talking about.
yeah. But they're having a drink and they're kind of still learning from each other. We
With the
cut to
Ferengi
Culber.
bartender.
Yep, and we cut to Culber, who's also in the bar, and he tells Mike of the experience of being possessed by another consciousness. And we cut back to Trill again, and as the Trill finishes up their ceremony, we see a little montage of the people we saw in this episode today, from the main plots to the subplots, and the Trill starts hugging each other as well, and Adira is there hugging people too, but shock horror, so is Mole, dun, 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 pretending to
Hmm.
be a Trill, dressed up in their robes, and she puts definitely, I think, a homing device on
Some kind of programmable ladder thing.
well, we are talking 32nd century, so this sort of thing could easily just
Hmm.
disappear in your clothing.
Well,
So it puts
you
a homing
mentioned,
device. Yeah.
I was going to say, you mentioned generations earlier. And as soon as I saw that hit Indira's or arm, I thought, oh, here we go with the whole Star Trek Generations thing. They called and want their plot back. How Geordi's visor was compromised.
Oh
So
yeah, I remember. Yeah.
who knows how sophisticated it is in the 32nd century? Maybe they'll be able to see what Indira's doing and have the
Yeah.
inside information that way.
Well, yeah, but they put the device on her, and obviously, I think this is where Mole and Lack kind of knew that they were outnumbered by the Trill and the Federation. So this is why they kind of went incognito and did what they did that way. But now two pieces of the MacGuffin have been picked up. I think there's only three or four more pieces left.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then and they got the MacGuffin itself had some sort of code on it, which will take them to their next destination. So
Hmm.
they better hope it's all sequenced
And
because
at
they
the
might
end
pick
of the map is going to be Luke Skywalker on a random planet being a hermit, drinking blue milk.
green milk.
Green,
Um,
sorry.
yeah. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. So our Bonnie and Clyde are still going after them. Obviously, there is a bigger picture there. Once again, a very Indiana Jones type episode, I guess, to a degree, with all the puzzle solving and clues and stuff like that. Different vibe though, different direction to a degree. Nice having the trill back with little reminders and all of that. That was pretty cool. Um, and having Colbert having a bit of the spotlight today was nice too,
Mhm.
especially with how they portrayed him. Because as I said earlier, Wilson Cruz got to show some acting talent. He almost kind of reminded me of like a military general or something like that. With his performance and how he behaved. Yeah, it was really well done, really well acted, really well performed. A nice episode, nothing too spectacular. Um, I guess anything you want to add to it, fellas, before we mark it?
Mm.
No, I do agree with Daniel Vance here though about I found it highly unlikely that Maul was able to or was in the most secure area on the
Yeah,
Trill planet and
yeah.
participating in a Trill ritual. I did think that. Like, how did she get there? And then Daniel Vance also said Reds was the name of the bar, so it is Reds. So
The
Well,
dude
I,
did
I,
say,
I
"Trill
look at it like
security will take care of it."
no, I look at it like this, like. Yeah, I mean, the planet's really big. She could have beamed in any other part of the planet, but on top of that, um, Michael looking to meet a particular trill, so that's what triggered off the the, the riddle and all of that sort of stuff. So that in order to meet that particular trill, if Michael Burnham went to visit Trill for any other reason, I'm probably sure they could have just gone into Trill without a second thought, if you know what I mean. But because it was that particular incident, that's what kind of triggered things. But yeah, you are right regarding some of the security measures and stuff like that. It was a bit too easy. But then again, these guys are professional thieves,
yeah,
smuggling and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Hiding sometimes in plain sight or getting into the planet in weird ways is what they do best. So I wasn't putting it past them doing what they did. Time to mark the episode, fellas. I'll start with you, English Donkey. What?
English
Yeah, I did.
donkey.
I did that on
English
purpose. I'm
donkey.
sorry. All right,
Maybe I'll get a
Donkey.
promotion like Harry Kim never did, and I'll become Great Britain donkey.
Fair enough. But out of 10, what would you like to give episode 3 of season 5 of
I'd
Discover?
give it a 7.5.
0.5s. Get out of here.
Mhm.
8.5s.
God damn it. All right, fine. A 7.5 from Donkey. What about you, Cheats?
I'm gonna give it a 6. As I said, good filler episode, but it was riddled with discoveryisms again. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was good to see Trill again. But another book in Burnham, Bonnie and Clyde adventure,
Gonna get the gang back together.
boogaloo, you know. Um, so yeah, but I give it a 6.
Yeah, if it's not Book and Burnham, it's Burnham and Saru, isn't it? So,
Mhm. And they
yeah,
can't do
that's
that
pretty.
this week because Saru's back in Starfleet headquarters.
Yeah. I,
But
I,
we
I
got two.
liked it. I liked this episode. I thought it was a nice episode. Not a great episode, but it is like I think sometimes we get more of the actual Star Trek elements in the subplots than we are getting in the main plot. The main plot is just full on action, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Find this MacGuffin, put all the pieces together, and then we'll know what the meaning of life is, or something like that. Whilst
Hmm.
the Star Trek moments, like you saw with the diplomacy angles and with the ambassador role played by Saru and stuff like that, and even like their relationship in a way has some Star Trek isms to it regarding, you know, um, confliction and stuff like that, and not always seeing eye to eye on certain things and misunderstandings. Yeah, it was really well done in that. Your Star Trek moments, and we had that in the subs, but not in the main. Maybe
I
it'll be nice to get a main plot sort of Star Trekism in the future.
I do feel like in this episode they were focusing less on Burnham's story, like and more on like it was
Interesting.
actually more balanced. Like the stories going on were more balanced, like between
Hmm.
Tilly and Rayner, and Saru and what's the Vulcan president's name?
Turin.
Turin, Saru and Turin. So I felt like there was a bit more of a balance between them
Tarina, I
both.
think. Tarina,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Is there someone who has calculated all the screen time of every actor on the show?
Not that I know of.
That would be interesting to see.
I mean, you might as well put 90% of it on Burnham because I mean,
Well,
they're spending all this time with Burnham. I want to know what happened to Fred.
Fred.
He's in the sick
The
bay.
android.
The Brent Spiner lookalike.
Yeah, I want Fred to be okay. and
Oh
become
yeah,
part
I
of the
don't
cast.
care about it. People are waxing lyrical too much about him. I'm not too fussed personally about Fred at this moment in time. But it was nice to see an android like that and stuff like that. But
It was a nice member berry. But
it was a nice member berry. But like all of a sudden we shoehorn him in to be part of the crew and stuff like that. Please,
Come on, let's do it. Well, and that's all there's all these loose ends from other shows. That colony of androids out there, are they still out there? It's all these little things that they could be doing as a tour of the galaxy, but they're not.
Well, as I said, this week, this seems like they're doing a planet a week. So although we do have this overarching story, we are doing a planet a week. And next week we're going somewhere else. So as long as they kind of keep this up, I mean, I'm okay with it. Granted, yes, we've been to Troll before since we've gotten into the 32nd century. It was in season 3. So it was good to return there. But like, yes, let's go somewhere now that we know of in the past, but
where we're going next week is not in Federation space.
Yes. I don't remember where it was.
Which is very interesting to go somewhere that's not controlled by the Federation.
I would love to see a map of Federation space right now because of all the planets that have kind of drifted off. Like, and there's got to be a lot of just planets.
They could play with Star Trek Online because they brought Discovery era in the past to that game, but they could bring the future as part of a future thing. Would be cool.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see the map and like where like you would see just holes where worlds have just left the Federation and technically it's not Federation territory.
I got to draw Mike a little map of the galaxy the other day on top of a styrofoam box. Like, this is the Alpha Quadrant. This is where Voyager was, the Delta Quadrant. So, yeah.
I bet that was too much for him. He's like, no. Like, where's the lightsabers?
Where's Deep Space Nine? Yeah. What do you mean it connects to the Gamma Quadrant? What? Huh? Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm not sure if I marked it or not, but I'm gonna give it a 7. I thought it was an okay episode. Nothing too great, nothing too spectacular. I would like to maybe get. Sorry, I never really finished what I wanted to say before. I really want to get to an episode where we get some of those Star Trek isms in the main plot. I want to see some diplomacy angles or whatever it may be, or moralistic moments. What's the right moral thing to do and stuff like that. Like something like that in them, as well as maybe having that mix with trying to obtain this MacGuffin at the same time. So that'll be a nice look. I'm sure one of those episodes is going to be like that. I guarantee it. It's going to be. Do we take the moral high road, or we say hell with that? We've invested too much in this MacGuffin to say, to take that moral high road. I think it's going to be something along those lines. So that'll be pretty interesting if they do that. So,
I know Stamets was all excited about what the possibilities of this tech are, but I got to agree with Commander Grumpy Pants. It's too dangerous to keep around. So that's going to be the big moral question, and it'll be interesting to see those arguments.
And that's why they scrubbed the Genesis project. Like, I mean, they could have rebuilt. Like the in canon reason for Genesis being scrubbed is because of the dangerous applications of Genesis. You know what I mean? So,
Enton Donkey, read that.
Planet of the Week, storyline of the week, blah. I learned nothing about the actual puzzle. This season is suffering from the same writing the Willow series suffered from, which I'm not familiar with the Willow series.
You know what? You're lucky you're not familiar with it. It's Sandra Bullock.
Sandy B.
Yeah,
This is my first
exactly.
officer.
Oh, lovely. Well,
An ensign has a first officer? Man, your
Yeah, I'll change it
Federation's
to
ass
captain. Can I?
backwards.
Yeah,
Just how you like it, baby.
it's back to Star Trek Online. They start you out as acting captain at ensign rank.
I know,
So,
right? I
Yeah,
never
that makes sense.
Yeah, it never made sense. I'm like, just make me a captain. Like
Yeah,
anyway, we could do a whole podcast on. I do when we come back with the highly
because
illogical.
I want to get back to playing it.
Yeah, the highly illogical podcast. I do want to talk about Star Trek games eventually. That's one of my big topics I want to talk about. So
yeah, fair enough. Okay, so that was this episode. What's next week's one called?
Saru and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I don't know.
I really thought that was it for a second.
That'd be great. The Beatles are
Next week's is called Face of Strange or Face the Strange. So Stephen Strange is going to show up apparently.
I bet
The
it might
Strange
have
New
some
Worlds.
I think it might have some magical elements to it, or perceived magical elements to it.
They did reference that in this about how things that are unexplainable by our science today. Things that they did kind of mention that in this episode. So maybe as a member berry for next week.
So I tried to start season 5 here with Mike, and unfortunately he fell asleep halfway through the second episode. So that's his review of the second episode. But he was asking all these questions about.
Oh, I'm sure he loved Book of Boba Fett though.
No. Love Strange New Worlds, but why is it that Discovery wasn't able to just send the crew back? There was some kind of temporal war in between that it was all outlawed, something like that.
Yeah.
The no slingshot around the sun with the Enterprise.
I mean,
the
HMS
probably
could, but the problem is they couldn't take Discovery back. I mean,
yeah, they just.
Why would they want to go back to?
Well, I mean, if some of them had, I mean, there were a lot of. I honest and truly feel like that. If we're going to talk about it really quick, I honest and truly felt like there should have just been like a couple members of the crew taking Discovery into the future, and everybody else beams onto the Enterprise. But it seems like they took all the crew members into the future, and I'm like, that makes no sense. People have families at home. People that makes no sense. Like, I could see if there was a couple of them, and even main character, give one or two main characters, be like, I got a family here, I can't go. You know what I mean? They would beam over to the Enterprise.
Or why nobody tried to say, let's go back, or we're going to take a ship and go back, because we know time travel is possible. It's just not very common.
I also think that they can't go back now because it will have a significant effect on the future that they're in if they do go back.
Of the current future.
Yeah, exactly. So
but they never show any Easter eggs of their past, like the bridge crew. Maybe they still have family from 900 years ago that's still surviving, or maybe someone left pieces or artifacts for that crew to find that Earth is holding on to. Just little things like that they never did that they probably won't now.
The future tech is just like, the way things are done in that particular future. Like, why would you want to go back? Why would you want to have?
Yeah.
If your bedroom could be a holodeck, why would you want to go back?
Because Scarlett Johansson lives here and now.
Well, that's not a good enough reason for me. Sorry.
If you don't need to walk to a replicator, and you can have your coffee mug, put right on your table next to you, or in your hand even.
I'm like, why computer, would you want... D in a box.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
D in a box? What?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it on your doorstep.
I want to
see where I live.
I want to see Earth in the 32nd century.
Yes.
We've already been there technically. I don't know if we were on the planet very much.
No. But... Were we even on the planet?
There was like episode 3 or 4. Like it was of
season. Yeah, they got some shore leave, and they were all in San Francisco.
Yeah, we got to see. I'm not saying like yes. I know San Francisco was not all of Earth. It would be nice to actually have an episode dedicated to Earth.
But the last episode of season 4 was on a space station. I think, right?
I want them to go to Delhi in India. Yeah, if not that, then I want them to go to, some other obscure part of the world. Maybe Dubrovnik in Croatia, or Marrakesh in Morocco, something like that, or Lagos in Nigeria. Go there. You know what I mean? Go there. I want to see Starfleet in those
No,
places.
we want to see him in San Francisco. That's what we want.
Oh, they could go other places. They could come to Akron or Cleveland.
Oh God.
I'm sure it'll be a crater by the time. By the time we get to the 32nd century. Welcome, Harris Film Productions. I'm so far behind. I haven't seen anything from the season. I'll watch this after I catch up. Well, thanks for
the
stopping
Monster
by.
Maroon.
Yeah, Monster Maroon.
Yeah, and I look forward to the release of my debut, by the way. And on top of that, Harris Film Productions. It's only 3 episodes, mate. You can catch up with them very quickly.
I wonder if he's more than just the season. Like, I wonder if he's actually caught up, like to this season. I mean,
I caught Mike up by just doing the recaps from each episode or from each season.
Yeah. And Harris Film Productions says, "Love you guys.
Love you too, mate. Love you too."
Are you hitting your com badge there?
Well, let's wrap things up, guys, because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning for me, and I do need to go.
And Zam is old,
and I need to drive as well. And plus, I've got my lovely birds next to me, who, even though
all I see is the Bridge of Discovery.
Yeah, because my room's a little bit untidy right now, so that's all you're gonna get. So Delhi universe would be very different. It was bombed heavily during the eugenics wars, kind of the area. Yeah, but that was so many years ago, dude. Like England was bombed. We had the Blitz during the Second World War, so we survived that. But you would think after 300-400 years, or in this case, as it's the 32nd century, over 1,000 years, they would have rebuilt Delhi quite easily. So Bombay or Mumbai in this particular case, Lahore,
would those even still be cities?
New Delhi, perhaps.
Yeah.
Would those still be cities?
Yeah.
Like, they might have merged into one big city.
Yeah, Coruscant.
I want to see these places futuristic, with a futuristic touch, in this universe. Because my God, as much as San Francisco seems like a cool place, there's only so many times we can go there. You think that's the only place on Earth, the only place,
and somehow the bridge is still there all the time.
Well, I'll give like the Star Trek Kelvin universe a little bit of credit, because at least they had other cities. They had London, for Christ's sake, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. So we got to see some other cities in that universe. So that was nice. But yeah, I want to see more. So all right, we're done here, fellas. Anything more to add before we wrap up? Ensign?
No.
Okay, well, keep an eye out here on the lots of reviews of shows that have just finished and shows that will be finishing soon. We will have a Fallout review for you.
Does his arms sway?
No.
That's my favorite thing. That when Saru, any shot where Saru's walking, just all I can do is focus on his arms.
Do you have Amazon Prime, Donkey?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, you go to Cheeto's house and you watch Fallout. I'm watching that right now. Yeah, it's actually. I don't know anything about the video games at all, and I'm having a good time.
They're good.
I'm having a good time. Yeah. So yeah.
And look what Daniel Vance says. Daniel Vance says, "Good night. Have a good night. All back to Fallout. See you all next time."
I didn't finish the 4th game because I couldn't make the decision that you have to make at the end. I just stopped playing it instead.
Well, I'm 2 episodes in. I think there's an 8-episode series, so I'm going to binge most of it tomorrow.
Ooh, that seems short. Yeah. I don't like how Discovery too. 10 episodes. What happened to like TNG with 23?
Budget
this season? Come on.
Budget. Yeah, everything was on the sound stage, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. All these alien planets and stuff like that.
Where can we go that have a lot of rocks so that we can have.
Which budgetary, and on top of that, they're trying to make Paramount seem profitable, because with CBS and Paramount looking to sell, they're wanting to skew those numbers so that they can make it look like it's profitable, so somebody would buy it.
I got it. Let's pitch all of our money together and buy Paramount.
Listen, I'm going to give them 50 cents and a urine cup for Paramount. That's what I'm going to give them. Maybe some belly button lint if they're lucky.
Yeah, me too. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. We're also on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, various platforms. Subscribe to us on all of them. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Don't forget our Patreon.
Bye.
Got a link down below.